Hello, and welcome to our AWS project demo for mobile cloud computing. This is me, Resham Furqan.
And this is Afrah Zeeshan.
This project is based on a fictional business called EcoTravel Hub, a digital platform that promotes sustainable and eco-friendly tourism. It connects conscious travelers to verified eco-certified experiences, carbon-neutral accommodations, and low-impact transport solutions. The target audience is mainly digital native travelers aged 20 to 45 who want to explore responsibly while protecting nature and supporting local cultures. Since it's an online-only platform targeting global users, we chose AWS to build a secure, scalable, and globally accessible infrastructure instead of relying on costly, rigid in-house or hybrid setups.
We began by using AWS's identity and access management system. So instead of creating custom users, we utilized the predefined LabRole, which comes with the necessary permissions to access AWS resources securely through the AWS Academy Learner Lab environment. So this approach ensured centralized control, minimized configuration errors, and aligned with the AWS best practices for student environments.
Then we made a custom VPC with 2 availability zones to enable a secure and isolated network architecture. Then we had one public and one private subnet configured in each availability zone for high availability and segmentation. Moreover, we enabled public subnet instances to connect to the internet securely, and we allowed private subnet resources to access the internet without being exposed. Then we made custom route tables configured to ensure correct routing between subnets and gateways. Then for the security group, we chose the HTTP rule, inbound rule, and added to allow HTTP traffic on port 80. For the security group SSH rule, inbound rule, we added to allow secure SSH access on port 22.
For the Apache installation, we used Apache HTTP server, which was installed and configured for serving website content. For a web file setup, we used HTML files that were uploaded to the EC2 instance and then placed in the Apache root directory. On the EC2 instance, we deployed a basic web feature for the EcoTravel Hub. So it was a static web page which showcased a simple eco-friendly message saying, "Welcome to EcoTravel Hub."
Then we enabled termination protection to prevent accidental deletion. Then we upgraded the instance type. EC2 upgraded to a large instance type for improved performance. And then we also updated the instance specs, which shows the upgraded instance configuration. To monitor the health and performance of our EC2 instance, we used Amazon CloudWatch, which gave us access to logs, CPU usage, graphs, and system alerts.
To support persistent storage, we created and attached a new EBS volume to the EC2 instance. We formatted the volume, mounted it, and stored the test files. We then created an EBS snapshot for backup and disaster recovery purposes.
For the relational data storage, we deployed a MySQL RDS instance in the private subnet. We created a DB subnet group, configured security groups for access, and tested database connectivity from the EC2 instance. This setup prepares EcoTravel Hub to support dynamic features like user logins, eco-tour bookings, and data tracking.
To ensure high availability, we created an AMI of the EC2 instance, which serves as a template for scaling. For auto-scaling group setup, there was a defined min-max instance range and a launched configuration. For the load balancer configuration, there was ALB setup with listener for port 80 and linked to the target group. The RDS MySQL instance was launched. The MySQL database was created in a private subnet using the Amazon RDS.
This project gave us the opportunity to build and manage a real-world cloud architecture using AWS. We learned how to design secure network architectures, deploy scalable web applications, and configure monitoring, backup, and automation tools.
One of the challenges we faced was getting the EC2 and the RDS to communicate securely, which we solved by carefully reviewing the subnet groups and security group rules.
One of the other challenges that we faced was setting up the RDS MySQL database and getting it to connect with the EC2 instance. In the beginning, the connection failed because of misconfigured subnet groups and security group rules. We had to adjust the inbound settings and double-check that the database wasn't publicly accessible. Once we fixed those configurations, the EC2 instance was able to successfully connect. This process really helped us understand how networking and access control work within the AWS, especially when different services need to communicate securely across private networks.
For the estimated monthly cost, the entire deployment remained under the $50 AWS credit. And so the EcoTravel Hub is now a fully operational prototype for green tourism. Thank you for listening.